I'm going to read you a newspaper ad that was taken out in the July 3, 1875 edition of the Herald, the Melbourne newspaper that preceded the Herald Sun. A good wife wanted. £20 reward, positively bona fide, I, Edward William Cole, Book Arcade, Bourke Street. An ad like this raises a couple of questions. The first of which is, who was this man who would advertise for a wife? Well, Edward William Cole can best be described as a radical conservative, an entrepreneur with a flair for publicity. His famous Book Arcade was, at its peak, the largest bookstore in the world, 4 stories tall, stretching 2 blocks from the Bourke Street Mall back to Collins Street, its glass-arched canopy casting light on more than 2 million titles. Books, pamphlets, and paraphernalia were stacked on tables and benches, lining shelves from floor to ceiling, accessible by various stools and ladders. But Cole's Book Arcade was more than just books. Otherwise known as the Palace of Intellect, it boasted a monkey cage, a conservatory, a lolly shop, a toy department, a Chinese tea room, a kind of proto-jukebox called a symphonion, and a live band that played songs like Two Little Girls in Blue. So now another question emerges. Why would a man capable of creating such a place take out such an ad? The simple answer? Because he could. It should be noted that personals are not a new thing. They're as old as the newspaper itself, or at least as old as the classified section. They form a central part of the tradition of matrimonial services dating back to the 1700s, of which internet dating is simply the latest incarnation. To put it simply, Edward Cole's ad was the 19th century equivalent of an OkCupid profile. You can just imagine him composing it with his secretary. A good wife wanted. No, scratch that. A good wife wanted. She should be a spinster, 35 or 36 years old, good-tempered and intelligent, honest and truthful, sober and chaste, neat but not extravagantly dressed. These are the qualities he sought in his candidates. But how did the candidates themselves, that is, the society women of pre-Federation Australia, take the ad? What did someone like Eliza Frances Jordan think, sitting by a river on the outskirts of Hobart, her older sister reading her the paper? Did she see it as a grand opportunity, positively bona fide? Or a crass publicity stunt, an indecent proposal? There was the reward, of course, but then there were Cole's progressive ideas. Edward believed in a world without borders. He believed that we should establish a global federated government in order to realise world peace by the year 2000. He was an advocate for education, for literacy, and he argued vehemently against the White Australia policy. Whatever Eliza thought of these ideas, and whatever she thought of the ad itself, she sent a reply. I can't tell you what was in her response, only that it worked. Edward wrote her immediately, "I think your letter is a very sensible one." They were married within the month and were together for more than 30 years. The most famous photo we have of Cole's Book Arcade shows Eliza seated in what was known as Queen's Corner, the nook of the store where she would take tea with friends. To me, this story is more than bookseller wants a wife, but I find it hard to articulate just what that is. I want to say it's a timeless search for love, but then a period detail gets in the way, like a chaste spinster or a sensible husband. But at the same time, it's not like we can't relate to it. We all get shy sometimes, right? We feel lonely, we take risks. I put myself on the line, you throw yourself at strangers. We ask the world to take a chance on us. Because these are the things you do to find love. And this is how Edward and Eliza's relationship, their story, can be our ideal. not in its shape and form and details, but simply as love. Cole's Book Arcade wasn't a template for every bookstore that came after it, and their love isn't a blueprint for how things will turn out for us. Instead, they're both a reminder of what is possible.